Here we go, and we are live on Facebook. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another New Jersey Constitutional Republicans virtual conversation. It's my great pleasure tonight to have Mr. Steve Pakradooni, Republican representative for LD4 for New Jersey State Senate. Steve, thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much, JR. I do appreciate you, this conversation this evening and your expertise in the Constitution. I always use you as an expert if I have a question, if I have a problem with understanding the New Jersey State Constitution. And I've been reading it, and it's very, very interesting. We've lost sight of a few things, and one of the reasons why I did get involved, I thought I wasn't being represented correctly. And it's very interesting here, right? In Article 1, it says all political power is inherent in the people. And I think our representatives, our long-term representatives of LD4 have forgotten that. So that's why I am involved and running for state senate in LD4.
Well, Steve, I'll have to tell you, you've already hit it out of the park with me, with that reference to the Constitution of all political power being inherent in the people. And I'm very excited about your candidacy. Of course, I've been watching you from a distance on Facebook, and you have a very energized campaign. I know you're a hard worker, and the fact that you're taking the time to read and study the Constitution is great news for the people of LD4. And we're going to talk more about that as we move along with our show this evening. But as we start, Steve, give me a little bit of a brief background on yourself. Give us a brief bio of Steve Pakradooni.
Well, born and raised in South Philadelphia, was taught by nuns in grade school and Jesuit priest in high school. So I know a little bit about self-responsibility and honesty. They were instilled in us in school, and I have the scars on my fingers from the rulers to prove that. But really, my education in as a young man in South Philadelphia was very, very important. I mean, we were deeply rooted in religion and also community and family. And it's something that we are losing sight of here in New Jersey. And another reason why I did get involved. I knew early on that I wanted to get into one of the trades. I loved cars, and more importantly, I loved tools. That's what really got me motivated to go to Lincoln Tech right out of high school. I was enrolled in Lincoln Tech in sophomore year of high school. I did very, very well in that school, in that trade school. And I really loved the automotive repair business. And at the young age of 22, way back in 1988, I started my own business in South Philly, my own auto repair business. I've grown it. I've expanded into New Jersey, and now I still have an auto repair business in Camden County, New Jersey, and love it. Get up every day and work hard, usually a good 10, 12-hour day. I'm more in the front office now, which I don't like so much, but I still get out there every day, try to fix a car, try to diagnose it with my team, and love it every day. My family life is my beautiful wife, Gina. We've been married 19 years now. And I have a football playing son who was actually able to play football last year, thank goodness. And he's been training all summer long. And first game is next Friday night, where I am the announcer for the football team. And the crazy part about it is I know nothing about football. So it's a pretty interesting event there when I'm announcing. It's a little more entertaining than the actual what's happening on the field.
Well, I'm sure you'll do fine, Steve, and you'll learn about football fairly quick. Generally, the teams that can run the football and the teams that can stop the run are teams that ultimately have the greatest success. And being a longtime New York Giants fan, I've always taken great pride in being a Giants fan and defense first and run that football up the gut. And that's what we want to see with the Giants this year. But I'm sure you'll do fine with your broadcasting career. Now, of course, you are a business owner. You are a proud member of the middle class. Of course, that's the demographic or the economic class that the Republican Party has always represented from its very beginning. And now we see in many ways a restoration of that Republican representation of the middle class once again. And so this gives you already a good experience of what it is to be a business owner and the obstacles that are put forth with the middle class. And of course, we talk about it ad nauseum, but the idea of high property taxes, car insurance being too much money, gas taxes, and of course, New Jersey, we are just inundated with taxes, primarily the property taxes, which go to fund the education. So in your estimation, as a business owner, what would you like to see as you go into Trenton as the representative of LD4? What would you like to see occur that would create a better economic environment for middle-class New Jersey citizens and business owners, small business owners like yourself?
Oh, it's pretty simple, and we saw that on a federal level. We need to cut the taxes in this state. The business tax, first off, is the highest in the nation. So if we cut it in half, we're still kind of in the middle of the pack then, but at least we'll start bringing companies back into New Jersey. As a business owner here in New Jersey, basically the state is almost a partner, and they used to be a silent partner, but now they're the loudest ones. Governor Murphy, he just hit us again with increasing in the unemployment tax at $250 million. It falls on the backs of small business owners. If we cut that corporate tax for businesses and just cut some of the state income taxes for the earners, the state would really just expand business wise. We are in a fantastic location here in New Jersey. We have it all. We have transportation. We have educated employees. We have tradesmen. We have it all, but we lose it. What major company do you know that says, hey, I want to make New Jersey my East Coast headquarters? We're just overlooked. They go to Delaware, they go to Pennsylvania, they go to New York. Jack has the best plan ever that I heard him speak about the other night in Pittman. Was we're going to wage economic war on our states, our neighboring states, and not to be nasty to them, but just to give us a level playing field. We're losing businesses and the wealth in the state. The wealthy move out of the state because even though they have the money to pay the taxes, they're saying, why should I stay and pay these crazy taxes if I can I'll go buy a condo in Florida, or I'll just move it sounds crazy. They move to New York to get their property taxes lower, and Pennsylvania. So it's so simple. Cut the tax, and people will move back into the state. They will stay in the state, and we will increase business revenues, and then businesses will open in the state. It's that simple.
That's right. And along with the cutting of the taxes, of course, there needs to be cutting on statewide programs that are the facilitators of waste in many regards. Just as you as a business owner would go over your normal or your annual budget and look for ways to which you could cut money so that you're able to provide a profit, watching and looking at the bottom line, which is what we don't do in the state of New Jersey. We're always paying more out than we're taking in, and we're already taking in too much, saddling down middle-class taxpayers. And so there'll be decisions that will be made, need to be made by you as a state senator on cutting areas of expenditure. And of course, no one wants to feel any pain, or no one wants to take there are going to be decisions you have to make. You're going to have to cut. You there, Steve?
Yeah, I'm kind of losing your feed there. You're breaking up a whole bunch. I don't know how my feed is coming into you. But I did hear you mention that we have to make decisions on cutting taxes and cutting programs.
Okay,
and
we may be having some storm that we're having. Here we go.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure if I lost you, JR, or not.
Right. Do you hear me now, Steve?
Yeah, now I have you. Yep, yep, yes, sir. I have you now. No, lost you again, unfortunately. Oh, there you go. I think I may have you
Here
again.
we go.
Is that on your end or my end, JR?
Yeah. We're going to, we may have some difficulties. It's got to be on my end, I would assume, Steve. I'll let the audience know that I do have saddle the clouds and the rain and the a obstacle to a cleave. All right, are you there, Steve?
I'm still here. I'm not catching a whole bunch you're saying, but I am here now if you can hear me clearly.
Okay, well, we may have to, we'll see if we can move along through, but if not, we'll set this up when the weather is a little clearer so that the reception is clear for the people to watch. But let's talk about the lockdowns. Let's talk about for the first time, Steve, in our nation's history, the Constitution was suspended during these lockdowns. New Jersey, New York, all of the states that are managed by Democrats. And we saw the suspension of the constitutional right of freedom of assembly, of religious expression. And in New Jersey, if we go, and I'm going to put the share screen on for us for a moment, Steve, and we'll see here that in Article 1, rights and privileges, you read section or clause 2, all political power is inherent in the people, not in our representatives. They are there to represent us. There's a clear distinction made between the people and their representatives. Political power is inherent within us, not Phil Murphy, not the governor, not Steve Sweeney, the Senate president, not Mr. Coughlin, the head of the assembly. The political power is in the people. But what was suspended, Steve, with these lockdowns was the unalienable right of the people, as we read in clause 1, of acquiring, possessing, and protecting their property, which includes their money and their business and their job. All of these were deprived from the people as a result of the lockdowns. And in your estimation, do you think that it was just that these people lost these unalienable rights to obtain, possess, and protect their property?
JR, absolutely not. It's clear. It's black and white right in front of me too. That the government was not allowed to do that and take those rights away from us. It's wrong for them to pick and choose what business should be open and closed. In my business, I was deemed essential, but realistically, my business depends on people traveling to work and going out and using their automobiles. And so, even though we were open, there was no business. For the businesses that were shut down, the restaurants, the movie theaters, it's just unimaginable that this would happen in this day by Murphy. He just acted like a king. Now, listen, we're all team players. We were told we need 14 days to slow the spread, to catch up, to find out what was actually happening. And I was all for that. And even if you told me, hey, we need another 14 days. But after that, we were fine to open. How could you buy a bicycle at a big box store, but you can't buy a bicycle at the local bike store? How could you buy food at the big box store, but the local restaurant is closed? They picked and choose winners and losers, and that was not the right way to do it. We have rights guaranteed to us by this Constitution of New Jersey and the U.S. Constitution, and it was completely wrong. And then also, our representatives in LD4 just went lockstep in with Governor Murphy, didn't push back, didn't say, hey, well, maybe we're a little bit less populated down here in LD4. Give us a break. Maybe we can get open, or we can be open more than 25%. And there was no concessions. They just went lockstep with the governor and did not represent the people correctly, and especially the business owners, the small business owners that have lost their business. 1 in 3 are gone. The restaurants that have been open for 50, 60 years gone, because no one can survive months without anything, without any money coming in. And even if there were some government programs to help people get through this, but it's just not enough. It just wouldn't work. So no, our rights should have never been trampled on like that.
That's right. And of course, as we read this Constitution, Steve, we find nowhere any sort of discrimination or delineation of what constitutes an essential business from a non-essential business. We see that the very first paragraph, the very first sentence in the first clause, that all people are by nature free and independent. And there's no law that should be passed at the State House nor signed by a governor that would contradict what we are reading here with the natural freedom and independence of the people. So this idea of discriminating between what is a business that is essential and non-essential is anathema to our Constitution. And Steve, it's also anathema to our Republican principles, which are equal protection of the law to everyone. Everyone is treated equally. We don't say this person doesn't have a right to work, this person does. And that, of course, is a tremendous example of the discriminatory policies and the special interest policies of the Democratic Party, which have always existed. But as Republicans, we believe that everyone has an essential right to work, because that is how they make their living. Their money that they earn becomes their property. And we see that they have the unalienable right to acquire, possess, and to secure their property. That includes the money they own, the business they own, the job they have. That is their greatest asset. And it was all taken away. And I'll have to tell you, Steve, as you're running as a Republican senator, that we needed to have more pushback from the very beginning from our representatives in stopping Phil Murphy from this lockdown, depriving the people of their natural rights in New Jersey. And in your estimation, what has to be done to assure that this situation and these lockdowns don't occur again?
We have to either amend the Constitution, New Jersey Constitution, or pass a law that the governor, well, they did the other way around, actually, does not have the power that can go unchecked like that. Maybe a 2-week emergency order, and it has to go through the state legislature again. That has to be law for this. Now, unfortunately, they gave the current incumbents gave the governor more power. They extended his powers till the end of his term, or if he gets a second term. And it's funny how it just happens to go away after that. So they knew what they were doing, giving this governor more and more and more power. Now, it also says that they're equal parts. As the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch are 3 equal parts. Well,
yes,
the legislator gave the governor more power. It's completely against this article that's right in front of me. This document that's right in front of me should have never happened that way. After all those COVID meetings of every single day, we had to hear the governor talk about this, that, and the other. Someone should be keeping him in check. There should have been at least weekly or bi-weekly meetings to say, okay, why do you have this executive order? Where is the data to back this up? But unfortunately, in Trenton, in the State House, they were MIA. They didn't want to go to work, and they just let the governor do whatever he wanted. And that's that. He acted like a king. And that should not happen in this state or in any state. And unfortunately, the Democrat states that are run by the Democrat governors, that's exactly what happened. The people lost control of their government, and one person, a king or a monarch or a tyrant, whatever you want to call him, was calling all the shots. That is not the way it works. That's not what we voted for. And people need to understand that and vote the incumbents out that gave this governor so much power over us. And he still has that power over us. And when you look at the numbers, when he posts them every single day, when he tells us how many cases there are and this, that, you can see the lockdowns coming again. It didn't work the first time, nor will they work the second time. And they will put more and more people out of work, make them slide into poverty, and take more and more and more of our rights and freedoms away. If you send me to Trenton, I will fight every single day to ensure that our rights and privileges made by this document in front of me stay with the people, not the government. I want less government control over our New Jersey residents' daily life.
Right now, do you have Article 3 there in front of you, Steve?
I do.
Distribution of the power.
I can
Yeah,
switch.
read. Why don't you read that for us? Article 3, the distribution of the powers of government. It's the shortest article in the New Jersey Constitution. It's only one clause, but please read that to us.
I will read that. I've highlighted it about 3 different times on 3 different documents that I have here. Some of them have grease on them because I was reading it at work. Okay, it says the powers of the shall be divided among 3 distinct branches: the legislative, the executive, and the judicial. No person or persons belonging to or constituting to one branch shall exercise any of the powers properly belonging to either of the others, except as expressly provided in this Constitution. So it's very clear that did not happen.
Very good. Now read Article 4, if you would, Section 1, Clause 1.
The legislative power shall be vested in a Senate and General Assembly.
So the legislative power is the ability to make law.
Correct.
Do we see the word executive orders anywhere in what we've read so far?
Not.
And we won't see it if we go down to Article 5 of the Constitution. Of course, Article 5 is the Section 1 is Article 5 gives the enumerated duties of the executive branch. And we see no mention. The executive power shall be vested in the governor. So the way that the Constitution was set up is that the sole ability to legislate would be given the legislature, not one man, not the governor. James Madison, who devised the Constitution from which all the federal Constitution from which all the state constitutions have been derived, clearly understood, as well as the founders, that power in the hands of one man leads to tyranny and monarchy, which is precisely what we've seen here in New Jersey, unprecedented since King George III claimed legal right to the colonies and what we call the state of New Jersey. So we've completely abandoned the Constitution, and what makes you very, very special and unique with your candidacy, Steve, is that you want to restore the legitimacy and the preeminence of the Constitution, as we are clearly reading here in the state of New Jersey again. Correct?
That is correct, JR. That's exactly what I want to do. Give the government back to the people. I want to represent the people of LD4 and actually the residents of all of New Jersey correctly, as the Constitution says, and the power belongs with the people, not the government or the governor or one person. And we can clearly see that is happening today.
That's exactly right. And of course, the idea of executive orders, obviously, there needs to be some reining in on these executive orders. But let me provide for you the foundation by which the Democrats have claimed the ability for the governor to take these extraordinary measures. Number one was the Disaster Control Act that was passed in 1942 in the New Jersey legislature, and then the Emergency Health Powers Act of 2005. Now, what these acts both did was to give the executive a greater and quicker. The real word that's important to understand with these pieces of legislation is the ability for the executive to make fast decisions that could not normally be made by an assembly of the state house with the Senate and the Assembly in making deliberation and debating legislation. It gave the executive office the ability to act quickly. For an example, both of these pieces of legislation were created during wartime or just after wartime to a degree. Now, we were in an actual state of war in 1942 with the Axis powers, and there was some concern about Axis powers, about Germans who may be Nazis in New Jersey, who would do or inflict damage to the citizens. So it was given the governor the ability to go into areas where these people may be in order to get them and to move quickly in any sort of a response to a threat, to an act of hostility against the citizens of New Jersey. And then 2005 with the Emergency Powers Act, that was created in lieu of what happened at 9/11. And of course, the talk of terror cells that were in North Jersey at the time. And it gave the executive branch the ability to move in quickly and to be able to thwart a threat from a known enemy or source. Now, what has been done by the Democrats is that they have applied these two pieces of legislation to the governor in being able to exercise war, quote unquote. And we don't believe that the word war should be used in regards to a pathogen or cognizant or to a virus like we have with the COVID-19. There's a clear distinction between war and knowing who your enemy is, having a clear objective and what constitutes winning that war. So they've exploited this language. Franklin Roosevelt really started with the war on the Depression, and then we had the war on terror, and we've had the war on drugs, and we've had the war on, but all these different wars that really are wars. But what happens when we have a state or declaration of war, or when we think of this as a war, it gives the executive greater and more expanded power. And that's precisely what we've seen with all these executive orders. I believe there's over 250 of them, Steve, that Phil Murphy's given. So with that said, with these two pieces of legislation, the Disaster Control Act, the Emergency Powers Act, they still do not usurp what we read here in the Constitution of New Jersey, which is that the people are free and independent. They have the unalienable right to obtain, acquire, and possess and protect property. All political power is with the people, not the executive order, and on it goes. And there has to be a responsibility of all three branches of government in governing the state. And this has all been set aside, and they use these two pieces of legislation to justify these executive orders. And we see that they do not overlap, or they don't they don't trump, if you will, the Constitution.
Well, that is correct, JR. And for the current incumbents in Trenton, in the State House, to not keep Murphy in check and say, okay, you can, I understand, something happens, catastrophe, storms, the whole thing. I understand the governor needs to act quickly. That is the job of leadership. They have to act quickly. But how come they didn't say, okay, we're going to look at each one of your executive orders every 14 days, reassess it, see how it is? They did not do that. They didn't do it. The few Republicans that are there did. They spoke up as loud as they could, but unfortunately, the Democrats just went lockstep with Murphy and kept the state shut down way too long. We were one of the longest states that had all these lockdowns and mandates, and our numbers are worse than any other state. If we were a country, we would have the highest per capita death rate in the world. So clearly they didn't work. And when you don't have the correct representation in Trenton saying, hey, governor, you don't have that ability or those powers, the Constitution is clear on this, why didn't they push back against him? It has to be a political agenda. Unfortunately, it looks like I've lost JR.
Are you still on there?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I am the only one on right now. So
There's a tornado.
oh, is there a
They hit
tornado?
the Brady's house pretty bad.
Oh, okay. Okay, unfortunately, I lost JR. So I'm going to sign off too.